Hey friends, welcome to Sassy AF TV Season 2, Episode 9, Understanding Human Design. Have you ever wondered why you are who you are? Why you think certain thoughts, respond to people in certain ways, or feel your energy in specific parts of your body? This week's guest is Jamie Schiable, and she is giving us a great introduction to the human design system. Not to get too woo-woo on you, but human design is a science that combines the principles of the I Ching, Kabbalah, Chakras, astrology, and quantum physics. Jamie is a business consultant and a mind-body wellness guide. She has used human design in her own life to better understand herself personally and professionally. As a projector, she loves to guide others learn their own human design so they can thrive in their own authentic ways. Jamie says, human design allows us to see an amazing worldview of who you are as a person. Let's dive into this week's fascinating interview. Welcome back to another episode of Sassy AF TV. I am so excited to have this conversation today with Jamie Schiable. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay, good. My name gets butchered like all day long, so I'm glad that I got it right. Jamie is here to share with us a little bit about human design, and we were just having so much fun offline before the interview. Off camera, I would say.
Off camera.
All right. And I'm so excited to share this information with you. Human design is something that I only learned about, I don't know, I remember a friend told me about it maybe less than 6 months ago, and I had never heard of it before. And when I first heard about it, I was like, okay, this sounds pretty cool, but I didn't really dive in or really understand it. And I'm still only scratching the surface at it. So I'm really excited to learn more about it and, hear your take on it, Jamie. So thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you for having me. Like I said, it's a really unique opportunity to be able to talk about it because it's something that operates in the background for me. Mm-hmm. My business has mostly been in business consulting, and human design has been just a tool in my toolbox, but it's been more personal for me than it actually has been something that's out front of a business practice. Just to get into some of the little technical details, human design was actually founded in 1987 by a gentleman by the name of Ra on the island of Ibiza, Spain. And it is a synthesis of Western astrology, the I Ching, Kabbalah, and the chakra system. So it's not a belief system. It's not a religion. It actually is a science. Which I really love because it's grounded and powered by information that you can actually experience and use. So that's something that I really find, what do you want to call that? Like tangible, right? Versus it being something theoretical. Right. I've actually been able to put it into practice. So 5 years ago for me, I moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and was invited to participate in a woman-owned and operated business. And one of the partners actually used his human design to match the energies in the system so we can understand how to operate appropriately together and basically build a business and be successful. And that's kind of what ignited this amazing journey for me in aha moments, like things that I went, oh, that's what that was, or that's what I was doing in my 20s and 30s. And now I've grown to understand and create a language around these systems or these feelings or these energy patterns or reasons why things work for me that don't work for others and vice versa.
Right. That's cool. So when you started down this path of human design just 5 years ago, had you heard of it before? Was it something that you were already familiar with or curious about?
I hadn't heard of human design, although I had been involved in astrology. I've had my chart read and deeply gone into that and like where I should be living and, what is important for me, to really kind of witness and be aware of, my sign compatibilities and such, right. But not to this extent. Human design, what I also found, it's like, if you just had astrology, or you just had I Ching, or you just had this chakra system, it's like looking through a microscope or a telescope. You're only seeing one part of it. So what human design does is it takes all of the other parts and puts them together. So you actually get to see this amazing worldview, per se, of who you are as an energetic being, not just one side of it. You get to see the prism from all angles.
So if you had done, like you said, a deep reading personally on your astrological sign and really understanding yourself from that perspective, when you then did the deep dive on human design, I'm curious, how did they kind of line up, or how did it maybe fill in some of the missing pieces that you had been curious about, like since you had started the astrology journey?
Yeah, so that's the exact terminology. It filled in the missing pieces because astrology can be very homogenized because it's only coming from one angle. So you're only seeing, here's my moon, here's my sun, here's, my rising. You're just kind of seeing one side of it. It's like we're three-dimensional and you're seeing something in one dimension.
Right.
So human design was able to answer a lot more questions and also give me a view of what I am as an energetic being, not just as this, I'm an Aries, with a Sagittarius moon.
Right. So can you define human design for those of us who are still learning, and maybe people who are watching that have absolutely no idea what we're talking about? What is human design, other than, it's this combination of, the three different energy areas that you mentioned before, but can you just explain a little bit more about human design and what it looks at in our system and how it helps define who we are?
So when you come into human design, or when you have your chart run, one of the beautiful things is it provides you with 4 things. You get to learn what your type is. So the kind of person you are. Are you a manifester? Are you a generator? Are you a manifesting generator? Are you a projector? Are you a reflector? It lets you know what your strategy is. So how you ought to make decisions. It lets you know what your inner authority is. And that's really kind of how you access your body energy to make those decisions. And then what your profile is. So your combination of conscious and unconscious personality traits.
And what is it based on?
Oh, sorry. I apologize. I'm like, based on?
No. Well, astrology is based on, when you were born, right? So I'm curious, how does human design work?
It's actually based on quite similar thing. It's based on the time of birth, your location of birth and your birthday. Okay. However, what it does is it actually helps calculate 3 months prior to your birth.
Oh.
So, and I don't want to get too woo-woo because I think that's what turns a lot of people off, is getting into, this concept of quantum physics. So that is the involvement of the quantum physics, is to look at 3 months prior to your birth and then aligning that with your birth time and birth date and overlaying it of the chart, which shows you your consciousness that came into your body, and then your body's consciousness that you were born with, and how they work together.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I would love for you, before we started, you were telling me a story about how you'd been kind of living your life a certain way for most of your life. And then once you discovered your own human design, it really kind of had this aha moment. Can you share that story? Because it was so powerful. And I think it'll really help explain how this can be used to really positively impact us going forward.
Right. So I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and I was, let's say, programmed and conditioned to be a leader, to be the one in charge. And, I came into my late 20s and early 30s, slowly uncovering that even though I can actually do that I'm an introvert. And that for me, going within and pulling back and being away was the only way I was going to be able to recharge. It was the only way I was going to, reconnect with my authentic self, to be able to step out and, be something technically I wasn't, and trying to be myself at the same time in this world that is very high energy. And when you get into the human design system, you learn that we are actually what we call in the generators world. So 70% of this planet is made up by generators, these beautiful energetic beings that are here to build and do and go out and just create. And I am a projector, which is only about 22% of the population, which is not an energetic being. That does not mean I steal energy from people.
I would say the opposite. Like, since we've met, I feel your energy, even just via, social media and text and whatnot. So
yeah, I'm here to be a guide. I've learned that, yes, okay, although I could kill myself trying to be, and keep going to trying to be a generator and be there all the time with all that energy, if I'm being true to myself and true to my design and my type of being, which is the projector, then I'm here to step in and guide, and then step out and let others complete their work on their own. Mm-hmm. So to stop trying to fix things,
right,
or to force things to happen, it has been a real life lesson. That was an amazing aha moment, is, hey, you know what? I don't have to be like everybody else, and I can still be successful. That was also very powerful to learn.
Was there anything in particular that once you figured that out, you made a tactical shift in your lifestyle that really honored that authentic piece of who you are?
So for me, it is important that I wait for an invitation. And that doesn't mean I sit around twiddling my thumbs, waiting for an invitation. I show up and I'm active and I'm present. And I let people know that I am here, but I wait for an invitation to be invited to participate, versus inserting myself, which can lead to some bitterness on my part, because, wait, I thought you wanted me there. Well, no, you didn't receive the invitation. So of course, you'll either be rejected, or you'll be met with resistance, or shut down over and over and over again. So I've learned strategically to stop, have a little patience, wait for the invitation. And when the invitation comes, then normally it's right for me, versus trying to insert myself into things that actually might not be.
Right.
Yeah.
As you look back as you reflect back on maybe, your 20s or 30s or earlier times, were there times when you did insert yourself and you felt that resistance, and then you were like, I get it now?
Yes, all the time. Because that's how we're trained. We're trained that you have to put yourself out there. You have to insert yourself. You need to be driven. And, if you don't, then you're not going to succeed.
Right.
And so, yes, I've been constantly. Now, did that mean I've lived a life in bitterness? No. I've been able to brush things off, but I've been able to recognize why internally I've been bitter.
Right.
Like, oh, that's what that was. It really wasn't right for me. I shouldn't have gotten involved. And that includes relationships too. Not just business deals, like personal relationships.
Right. Well, I imagine too that once you're really aligned with who you are at your core and your energetic being, right, then you can be truly successful. And I know you use the terminology about thriving, right? Thriving mind, body, spirit. And I love that, because what I'm hearing, two things that kind of come to my mind. One is, you said, I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and I was kind of forced to help everybody out and show up energetically and like have all this energy. And yet you said you feel like a guide. But when I think about that, I think, oh, well, a leader certainly is a guide. And firstborn, birth order, we can think about that. You don't have to be this overwhelming force. You can be that guide for maybe the other children, and perhaps falling into that energy, right? Then you're really thriving as the oldest sibling.
Exactly. And I know you ran your chart before we got online too.
Yeah, I did.
And you learned some interesting things about yourself, and I went, and see.
Right. Well, and let's talk about that if you don't mind. I think that would be really cool. So Please. What I learned about myself, and I'm still, really diving into this because I don't understand all of it completely, but I found out that I'm a manifester. So can you explain, Jamie, what that means, and then what you said about how, that guides me?
So for manifestors, they're here to basically usher in new ideas, which means their throat chakra is actually activated and powerful enough to what I like to call produce a sonic boom. So when you speak and when you bring forth amazing ideas, and when you are talking about things that are passionate and resonate so strongly with you, these ideas that are coming from within, this energetic sonic boom is coming out from you, and it is going out into the universe and into the community and into all of these different energy types to be able to get their aha moments from, to be able to get these amazing, oh, I understand that. I can go with that. That makes sense. It is very, it's very intuitive to come from you. Sorry, I'm starting to.
You're like, now that I'm talking about my throat, I need some tea.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So for manifestors, the other important thing for them to understand is that they're actually not here. Well, they're here to inform. So you're here to have that sonic boom, to inform, to usher in all these new ideas. But then the important thing is step back and allow the generators and all the energetic types and the energy beings around you to go do their work, to go out and, make magic with the information that you've given them.
I love that. And here's what comes to my mind is, as growing up throughout childhood, college, my 20s, my 30s, I lived this life of always checking the boxes and doing all the things that I thought I was supposed to do. And because I was so focused on doing what I thought I was supposed to do, I didn't really allow myself the space and the energy to think about what I really wanted and what I wanted to dream about, right? And what I wanted to share. So I feel that I was often had a lot of self-doubt that expressing my opinions would cause me to be, not liked by people or not included. And I never wanted, I had like major FOMO. Like if someone didn't include me in a party or a social gathering or something, I would feel like really, pained, like take it personally. And so often I would kind of stifle my own voice and my own thoughts. And it wasn't until I went through this pretty, intense period a couple of years ago and really came out to where I am today. And I don't know if it has to do with, I turned 40 this past July. So I don't know if it has to do with like turning 40 and just kind of getting into that I don't give a fuck mindset, which I know many 40-year-olds who shared with me that that's true. But I tell you, like, I feel so free and confident and purposeful sharing all the time. And if somebody doesn't want to hear it, I'm like, that's totally fine. It's all good. I don't have hurt feelings.
No, because your message every time you speak is being done for a specific group, not for everybody. And I think, like you said, we've been trained, like I mentioned earlier, we've been conditioned to be certain ways, to constantly be driven or to have to feel like everybody's got to like us.
Right.
No, they don't.
Right.
And if you don't like me, even better, because then you need to go find what you do like.
Right.
And good luck on that journey, because we all need people that are not like us, but at the same time are enough like our energy type in the way that, okay, that feels good to have this person around because they either challenge me, they educate me, they support me, and, they make me feel good. They're not always, pacifying me and, placating me and being the yes to me. That would be silly for us to only have that in our field. But to have a combination of different energy types is wonderful. Right. And we get to feel these things and we get to have these different people. But if someone doesn't fit, that's okay. They will fit in the next pod.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
Yeah.
You know what I find to be so interesting? We started to touch on this before. I love this concept of communication. And I actually studied communications in college. That was my major. And most of what I did was around mass media, but I spent a little bit of time on interpersonal communication. And for myself, I've always been very intuitive and instinctual when it comes to communicating with others. And I have to really give a shout out to my dad, because when I was a little kid, I love my dad.
Dads are great.
Dads are great. And my dad, I remember when I was a really little kid, maybe 5 or so, I remember I had a bad dream. And I told my dad about it. I said, Dad, I had this dream and there was this monster chasing me and it was really scary. And he said, oh, I know why you had that dream. And I said, okay, well, why did I have that dream? And he said, because before you went to bed, remember you and I had gotten in a fight and you were mad at me, but you didn't tell me. And in that dream, I was probably the monster. So you need to tell me if anything's upsetting you, need to tell me and communicate to me so that you don't have those dreams. And so ever since that moment when I was 5, I've always expressed my feelings for the most part and known that communicating in that way is so critical to relationships.
Yeah.
Right. But how many people don't communicate? I mean,
plenty. And I blame not actually having a communication platform or the right language.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all speak English, right? However, your words, this word could mean something different than what it means for me. And I think that's where a lot of misunderstanding comes from. And we get afraid of being misunderstood.
Right.
Yeah. Or we shut down. So right. We don't speak our truth, or we overspeak our truth.
Right.
and then we get scared by what comes at us. So.
Right. Well, and you speak a lot. I know recently, you were writing about really listening to yourself and being in tune with who you are and listening so that you can move forward and you can really thrive. Do you have any tips on how someone can really be more mindful of listening to who they are authentically within themselves so that they can move past some of these issues that we run up against?
So in the human design system, there is what we call the not self speak.
Okay.
So when you're being your not self, you can hear yourself saying these things, these specific things, or doing these specific things. So for a manifestor or a projector, we don't have the sacral center, which is kind of like down by our belly button.
Uh-huh.
We don't have this energetic sacral center defined. We don't have this energy that's just constant. So that energy from other people and from our surroundings flows in through it and out through it, but we don't know when enough is enough.
Okay.
So if you are able to take a moment and find out what your energy type is, and if you find that you are a reflector, a manifestor, or a projector, and then it's a good thing to understand that it's important for you to know when enough is enough. So that you are honoring your physical self and backing off.
Right.
For the generator types, like I had mentioned earlier, we live in a generator world, this energetic world. 70% of our world are generators. So there's beautiful energetic beings, right? They don't necessarily need to know when enough is enough because their energy just stops.
Oh, interesting.
They will pass out. They're done. They're done.
Yes.
The generators will fall asleep in their food, or kind of one of those things. Like, and it's really interesting. I mean,
that is so funny.
The practice of going in and doing friends charts and being like, every single one I would have said is, and the people that I knew weren't,
right.
Like how it is. So I think understanding not self-talk gives you an opportunity to then check in and be aware of how we're speaking to ourselves and therefore like what we're saying out loud and how we're showing up. And I'm sorry, I got off track. So I lost the question.
But I love that, right? Because what I was asking is, what were some of your ways that you would guide us to be better listeners to our own self? Because I think, at least for myself and for other people that I encounter, there's so much noise in our lives, all of us, right? We have all this noise from external sources. And sometimes it's hard to remember to listen to who you are and what you need because you're so influenced by everybody on the outside. So that's what I'm curious, like how we really get in there.
So when we get into looking at a chart, and we see what is defined and what is undefined, and we look at things like where you're not defined, what those not self themes can be. Sometimes we can even be conditioned in areas that are still causing us to not be ourselves in those areas as well. But there was a great, I have a guide that is, she brought up something once. She said, "What do you think about those thoughts you were thinking?" And it helps me sometimes go, "Oh, what was I just thinking about? Was that really important?"
Right.
So to calm the mind down, because our mind is actually not what's here to lead us or to make decisions for us, or choices for us. Our mind is here to weigh and balance. Okay, so it's doing our pro and con list, but our decision making is supposed to be coming from our inner gut, our soul. So to understand our authority in our human design system, I believe you have an emotional authority, is to then know that before I make a decision or a choice, I'm going to wait and especially make sure I'm emotionally clear, that I'm not in a wave of emotion or I'm feeling really super passionate about this. I'm going to wait 24 hours, even 10 minutes, walk out of the room, walk back in the room, and then make the decision. People with sacral authority, I tell them to get into their or their to know what their guttural responses are instead of what their mental responses are. How does that really feel? Ask yourself the question and see what comes up. Is that a or is that a It's really interesting to be in touch with how you are emotionally, energetically, physically feeling about things instead of trying to be in your mind to find the answers.
And I love that. I think, and I don't think that this is just me because I'm interested in this space, but there's a lot more prevalence and communication around, the connection between our mental well-being and our gut health. And, just from a nutrition and physical being standpoint, right? But there's a reason for that. There's a reason that we're hearing more about the vagus nerve and, how when we take care of our gut health, we're more able to make really sound decisions that work for us. And we can really listen to our intuition. And, we say the expression, trust your gut. It's not just like a random thing. It's not
that's not lip service. That's not just a saying.
It's not just a saying.
It actually is a truism. It's something that we should be practicing more often. And just like if you are sick, they say when things are not right in your system, there's disease. So disease is disease. Right. So energetic flow, like the I Ching, or working with your meridians when you talk about the energy system in the body. When something is blocked or energy is being taken in that is negative or it's been impacted with conditioning, can cause dis-ease and disease in our system. It builds up, and it actually pollutes our system, and therefore that pollinates cancer, any other types of things that can really hurt us in the long run. It creates the perfect environment for it.
Right.
Did you ever see the study that was done on plants, where you have a plant over here and it's being fed beautiful music and it's being and talked to, I love you, you're beautiful. And then you have the plant over here that's like heavy metal music and it's, I hate you, you're horrible. And you watch the plant, and the plant on this side slowly starts like shrinking and deteriorating, but this plant is vibrant.
Yeah.
Well, it's energy.
Right.
Words can be energy. So what we say to ourselves, we're all trying to change our inner self-talk, right?
Right.
It's supposed to be, I hope so, right? We've got affirmation cards.
I mean, hello, that's
hello. We've got these beautiful things that we're doing, but we have to support it as well with what we say. So not only what we're taking in, but what we're putting out. Like it's got to be an equal thing.
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend, and I kind of smacked myself because I know better than to like scold people. But she was saying something where I'm not proud of myself. And I went, well, why aren't you proud of yourself? Because she was not proud of herself because she didn't get a workout in. But she said out loud, I'm not proud of myself. And I said, why are you not proud of yourself? You chose to get rest. You chose to sleep. You chose to self-care versus pushing yourself to go get that done.
Right.
You should be proud of yourself that you made the choice to rest, then choose to go get that workout the next day.
Right.
So in those small moments where we want to kind of beat ourselves up a little bit because, oh, we didn't get this done or we didn't get that done, we need to make a shift.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to make a shift in saying, well, why was that good that didn't happen? Because I was able to get all these other things done. That is a good thing.
Right.
Just because I didn't do these does not make that bad, or I'm unaccomplished, or there's something wrong with me.
Right.
Even if all I did was get up, brush my teeth, do some laundry,
right,
and take care of my family. What do you mean? Just that is a lot.
That's a lot.
I mean, we're programmed that, oh, that's not enough, but it is. Showing up is enough.
Absolutely.
Every day coming, every day showing up, every day being there, doing something, moving forward, it is enough.
Right.
Now, if you have goals you want to achieve, sure, get driven, but don't go backwards by insulting yourself or putting yourself down because you didn't meet that goal that day.
Right. Right.
Because it's just doing the opposite work of what you're trying to do.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
So here's my final thought, because I know we could talk about this forever, but this is what I'm curious about. I actually brought this up today, and I was thinking, life is dynamic. Even for you and I, Jamie, we do a lot of work in this space. We are thinking about all the time how to do the self-care and how to take care of our mindset, right? How to really conserve our energy and maximize who we are. Mm-hmm. But let's be real, we all have shitty days. So I'm curious, when you're at your deep, dark moments and you're just feeling like, what do you get into your toolbox? How do you pull yourself out? What do you do to get yourself back to where you want to be energetically?
So I call that the melancholy gate. When your melancholy gate is active.
Yeah.
And you're having a poo-poo party.
Yeah.
I actually step into gratitude. So when I find myself right there and I'm like, oh, I'm so unhappy, or it's just feeling unhappy, it's a physical feeling.
Yeah.
I walk outside and I go look at the sky and I say, you know what, I can see. And look at all the amazing things I see. You know what, I can hear. Do you hear the birds? I can hear. I can smell. I can taste. Going to the simplest things and finding gratitude for them, because sometimes I'm not grateful for where I'm at. I have too much shit on my plate.
Totally.
But we have to remember, there are people out there that can't hear the beautiful music that we hear, that can't see their loved ones, but we get to see the sky. We get to see the flowers bloom. We even get to see the dead trees. I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico right now, and everything is brown. Although now it's snowing, so it's gorgeous. But even what someone might consider dull and drab is something that's actually really beautiful.
Right.
So taking a minute and just going to the little simple things, that gratitude for being able to see, hear, smell, taste, touch, that tends to kind of bring a little bit of a smile, because then I go, oh, you're right. I can taste good things. I'm going to go eat a piece of chocolate.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go smell that beautiful candle and light that. And then that tends to kind of bring the mood up a little bit more.
Right.
Go look at happy pictures,
mm-hmm.
Something that has a joyous memory to it. That tends to bring that rise up
cycle.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go to the simple senses and have them work their magic for you.
I love that. I do gratitude every morning. That's part of my journaling practice. And I write down 5 things I'm grateful for. And sometimes they're really deep and profound. And other times they're super simple. I'm glad that my kids folded their laundry or something like that. But
hey, that's not simple. That's big.
That is big. I know. But I love the focus on the being grateful for your senses, because I think that many of us take those for granted all day long. And when you can find gratitude, it just reprograms your brain to find the good. And something so simple, like you said, going outside, breathing in the fresh air and saying, I'm grateful for being able to smell and see and feel and touch.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So
to be able to even walk outside.
Absolutely.
Our legs, this we have to be grateful for. Yes. We are perfectly imperfect.
Right.
And this carries our soul. It helps us experience life. And it might not be what is on the cover, what we've been told is supposed to be, but it is perfect for where we are and who we are and what we're doing in this human experience.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. That's awesome. That was perfect. That was beautiful. Perfectly imperfect.
Perfectly imperfect.
So where can everybody find you if they want to learn more about human design and really connect with you and get some of your amazing energy?
So I actually have, we call it the background business called Intent on Thriving. And they can find me there, www.intentonthriving.com. And if anyone is interested in running their human design chart, they can do it for free at humandesignamerica.com.
And I'll link all that too in the show notes.
So I would highly recommend go run your chart for free, get a good look at that. And then I have a really special offer, and you'll let them know about that as well if you're interested. And then you can find me at intentonthriving.com, and we can take a little walk down your energetic blueprint together.
Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for sharing with us, educating us, guiding us on our journey for human design, and really just understanding more about who we are as individuals. Because when we understand who we are as individuals, then it's so much easier for us to show up in the world authentically, who we are energetically, and bring the love and, share of ourselves with others. I think that's where we make the most connection. So I'm so grateful for you.
Amen, sister. And I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for all your morning wisdoms. Those are beautiful to wake up with.
Keep it going.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, great to talk to you. Enjoy that lovely snow. And we will be back next week with another episode of Sassy AF TV. Thank you all for being here. Bye. Jamie offers such great insight about human design. The more I listen to her explanation of my personality as a manifester, the more it resonates with me. As she mentioned, my role is to usher in new ideas and inform. Seems pretty spot on considering the work I do, especially with this podcast. If you are interested in learning more about your own human design, schedule a consultation with Jamie through her website, intentonthriving.com, and use the code SassyFit to save 25%. Thanks again for being here and tuning in for another episode of Sassy AF TV. It would mean the world to me if you would leave a comment and take a screenshot to share it with your tribe on Instagram or Facebook. Don't forget to tag me at Sassy Healthy Fit. Then make sure to head over to sassyhealthy.fit and sign up for our mailing list so you always know the latest and greatest in sassy fun. See you next time.